Hey guys, today I want to talk about budgets. Why are budgets so different in the Philippines? Why do some people have a $500 a month budget? Why do some people have an $800 a month budget, 15? Most of it's kind of common sense, but some of it isn't to some people because if you don't live over here, you don't understand the way things work. And part of it is that, like where I live, it's a very reasonable area, and a lot of other areas don't have that. There are areas that are reasonable, but you're living in almost squatters villages, and you're probably paying $60 or $80 a month or whatever. And where I live, it's not a squatters village. It's very nice here. It's very quiet, sedate. Anybody that comes here pretty much sees it for what it is. It's very quiet. You know, you're away from it all. There's not a lot of road noise here, and it's a special place because it's hard to find places around in the Philippines that are really, really quiet for the price that I pay. For $60 to $80 a month, you get a very quiet apartment, a very clean apartment. You just have to put in the AC and you have to put in a regular toilet. But here's the thing about budgets here. A lot of people don't understand that there's going to be a lot of little tiny things that aren't in a usual budget. One of the things is people, hitting you up for money. It happens in the Philippines all the time. People are going to ask you for money. Family members of your girlfriend, their girlfriend's kids. They're going to ask you for money for school, for maybe to go get their hair cut, or to get their hair dyed, or to get their nails done or whatever. There's all different types of things. So maybe they want to go buy some clothes or something like that. Now, if you're single and you're living single, it's a lot easier to stay on these lower budgets. Now, some of these guys that are on the lower budgets also have girlfriends at work. And when you have a girlfriend at work, it's a totally different world because of the fact that, she might be taking in income of anywhere between $300 to $800 a month or even more. Who knows? If she has a really, really good job, if she's an attorney or she's a doctor or a dentist or something like that, she's probably making a lot more if she owns her own business or what have you. You have to remember that those things will help your budget. So that's why I tell a lot of guys look for the poorer families for whatever reason. I'm not sure I really understand that because when you're with a poorer family, you're going to be shelling out most of the money. So why would you want that? You want to find somebody that a lot of girls out there. There's a lot of girls out there that do make money. They do make decent money. They have. I see a lot of single women out there looking also for expats. Believe it or not, they own a house, they own a car, they have a decent job. They're in their 40s, 50s, or 60s, and there's some decent women out there that are, believe it or not, 60 years old that are decent looking women, and we see them. We see 50-year-olds all the time that are really decent. People that are worthy of dating and make a good partner for a single guy that's looking for somebody decent. Also, the other thing is this: when you're living alone, you're the boss of your budget, and your budget you're the one who controls every nickel. Whereas if you have a partner or something like that, she is also the boss. And she's going to be telling you, hey, I need this, I need that, you got to get this done. Also, a lot of people forget, when you're buying stuff over here, things tend to break more. And one of the things that we forget, light bulbs tend to break more. Things don't last as long. We're getting that Chinese junk, that we buy, and it just doesn't last long. And you're always buying something over here to replace something that broke in your house or what have you. So that's another thing. Also, you got cleaning costs, laundry costs, electrical costs, air conditioning costs, all that stuff in a regular budget. But sometimes when it's really, really hot, you're using more. So your budget will change. And everywhere in the Philippines, the electricity changes a little bit from one place to the other. And it's, what it costs, because some places are hotter, some places are cooler. If you're living in the jungle and it's shaded, it's going to be cooler. These are all things that you have to remember. Water prices can vary from one town to the next. Electricity prices can vary from one town to the next. These are all things that change. But the biggest thing that changes the most over here is that when you go to one town, you're looking for a place to stay, a nice place to stay, and they want $400 a month. And then you go to another place and it's $200 a month. Then you go to a place like Tracy Martirez and you can get places here for $60 and $80 a month. You just got to put in an AC unit. Some places you can get for $100 a month in my area with an AC all furnished, all set to roll. Now, a lot of guys that come here, they're on these vloggers and they're saying, I'm living on 500. I say that's a bunch of bull. I saw this video about this guy. He's living on $500 a month. How the hell he does it, God only knows. And I don't know if I or anybody else would want to live on $500 a month. They wouldn't want to live on $500 a month. You know, nobody wants to live in their retirement on $500 a month. But these guys make it sound like it's fun to do. It's not fun to do. You want to go places where you can go swimming. Those cost money. You want to go to resorts with your friends. You want to go places. You want to go for a night out or something like that, or go for dinner. It costs you money, and it can be expensive. A lot of people think over here, well, your cost to go out to dinner must be cheap. No, it's not. If you're going Western foods, it's going to be a lot more. If you're going Filipino foods, it's fairly cheap and reasonable. But even at a restaurant, it can be still kind of expensive. But what I want to say is this: every once in a while, I have people write to me, and they say, "Hey, Steve, I can live off $1,500 a month back home in the United States. In fact, I am." I had one guy write to me in the comment section and says, "I'm living on $800 a month, Steve, in the United States." That's baloney. It's not true. I see these comments, and I know for a fact that I could not live anywhere in the United States, with the exception of the streets, on $800 a month. It's just not factual. Okay? You can't even find a rental unit for $800 unless you're living in a certain towns and certain places in the United States, and they're not the nicest places, on $800 a month. Just not true. Plus, you figure you got your heat, you get your electric, your water, and all that stuff. You have to pay. You're just not going to find this. You cannot. And then with your food and stuff like that, you cannot live off of that. It's impossible unless your house is paid for, and even then, you have taxes you have to pay for, things like that. It's just not factual. I don't know where these people are coming up. Even on $1,500 a month, it's very difficult to live in the United States. I've seen on YouTube that they say here's 6 places or something you can live on $1,500 a month in the United States. That doesn't include a car, okay? That's just living there with a rental, electricity, stuff like that. It probably doesn't even include AC. So if in your retirement you want to live decent, happily, you want to have AC, you want to have decent food, you want to live at least a decent life in your retirement, because most people don't live a decent life in their retirement. I know a lot of people back home that are retired, and they're very unhappy with their retirement because of the fact that their budget doesn't give them enough to survive well. Over here, things change automatically. In one way is that your housing is so cheap over here, but there are those other costs. And granted, over here you got transportation costs. You have to pay for tricycles, buses, things like that. You can live over here cheaper than the U.S. I'll give you that 100%. But to live happily, and for me to live happily retired, I did that sweet spot budget of $2,000 to $3,000. Can you live over here on that really good? $2,000, you're going to live probably an average life, fairly happy. It'll cover your insurance. It'll cover a little bit of savings for when you're in your 70s if you live frugally. Now, the $3,000 is going to give you a really good amount of money each month where you can live more happily. And when you go above that, obviously, you're going to be really, really happy in the $4,000 to $5,000 range or what have you. You're going to live really, really well. But just keep in mind, guys, that the way you live cheap over here is your housing. If I'm renting for $400 or $600 or $800 a month for an apartment over here, and some people can't deal with living in an apartment like my apartment. My apartment is actually a very decent place. It's a nice little place. It's cute. It's air conditioned. It has hot water. It's comfortable and it's decent. Some people can't live in a place like mine. They want a house with 3 bedrooms and a gated community with a pool and all that stuff. Everybody wants that, okay? Everybody really wants that. I mean, let's face it. Everybody wants to have a decent place. I'm happy living here, and I have a really decent budget every month. But I'm happy here. Do I want to move someday? Yeah, of course I do. Nobody wants to stay in the same place forever. I would like to move someplace either on the beach or have a nice pool or something like that. Sooner or later, I probably will. But with that said, when you come here, first thing you want to do is just settle down for like 6 months or a year in a place. If you put an air conditioning in and it costs you $600 or $700 and you stay there for a year, you get your money's worth out of it. Okay, you get your money's worth out of it. Even if you move and you leave it behind, who cares? You're paying $60, $80, $100 a month for an apartment. These are the things about living in the Philippines. And there's a lot of differences between like this area here and Ilo, and then going to like in the outskirts of living way out in the provinces where they have brownouts and outages and stuff like that, and you might not have good Wi-Fi and stuff like that. And Wi-Fi is another thing that is going to cost you money. For good Wi-Fi, you're going to pay good money for that every month if you want decent Wi-Fi here. And also, some companies are known for having brownouts in their services and things like that. Be aware of that. These things are all the things that you will be living with in the Philippines that are going to make your costs go up or down. If you're really smart, frugal, and you sit there and think out everything, you can keep your costs really, really down and really, really low. But don't let people suck you into their stuff. Okay, there's a lot of people that are going to be begging on your door, asking for money, hounding you for money, asking for a little bit extra. My dog died. I got to, my sister's sick. This here. Don't fall into that category with most people. If you want to help people, help them. I'm all about helping people. I help tons of people here. But make sure that it's realistic and it's true. Because a lot of people fall for a lot of lies and bullcrap that people are feeding them, and it's just not factual. They want the money for themselves. Okay? And if you want to help out people that way too, so you can bring them up a little bit, and you're hiring people, give them a little bit of extra money in their wages or something like that, if you want to help people like that. But that's going to boost your budget again. So remember, when we're talking about budgets and you're comparing U.S. or you're comparing different towns here, there's going to be real big differences here. And the biggest differences is between the U.S. and over here. But a lot of people, when you hear about people living on $1,500 back home and $1,500 here, some of those people, they're talking about, well, I have my house paid off, or I live in my mom's basement, or I live in my sister's house, something like that. That's why they can live so cheap. Over here, there's going to be differences. There's a lot of differences over here, especially in the rentals. When you're looking for rentals in the cities, it's going to be more. You're looking more in places like where I live, in Tracy Martirez. It's gonna be cheap, reasonable, and you live in a nice town with a lot of nice people and a lot of nice stores, and it's easy transportation around here, and you can travel easier and cheaply, and then you can move to the next town over, and it might be a lot harder to travel because that place might not have all the transportation facilities that we have over here. That can boost your costs because then you're going to need to hire cars and hire drivers, and that boosts your costs. Also, guys, remember this: if you need to go to the VA and stuff like that, find a place that has transportation to go there. That like where I live, it has transportation to go there, so it's easy. It makes it easy. It facilitates. It keeps your costs down. It gives you nice transportation, really, really cheap to get up to Pasay, Makati, all those places up in Manila. From here, you can take a shuttle for cheap money if you want to be comfortable. The buses are comfortable with their AC and everything. Keep all this in mind when you're thinking about your budget over here, because your budget in this town is going to be different in Pasay. It's going to be different in Laguna. If you moved over to Laguna, your budget is going to be a lot higher. Probably like comparing it from here to Laguna, your budget is probably going to be maybe $800 more because you're going to be spending more. You're going to be going out to eat. Your rent is going to be higher. A lot of things are going to change. These are the differences of the budgets over here. And remember, you cannot compare the U.S. to over here, really. You really cannot, because the rents over here are so much different. Food prices, yeah, they're probably the same, and in some cases they're even more over here when you're buying Western foods. So just keep all that in mind. I just wanted to have like this budget talk today with you guys because I felt like it was something that I need to let you guys know that are back home, because it's important. Everybody is watching these videos of these $500 and $800 and $1,000, a month that you can live over in the Philippines for. Can you? Yeah, but it's like living akin to being homeless. Anyway, guys, God bless. Take care. I hope you enjoyed today's show.